Welcome to the Range Podcast. I'm Ricky Bruley, and with me is Jake Hollywood Iverson. Join us at the Archery Range, where we'll tell stories from the hunt, discuss technical bow shooting tactics and gear, and pick the brains of some of the most successful people to ever shoot a bow. Whether you're about to shoot that X for the win or send an arrow at a trophy buck, this podcast is for you. The Range Podcast is brought to you by Vapor Trail Archery, makers of the best bowstrings money can buy, originators of limb-driven arrow rest technology, and innovators of Stokerized stabilizer systems. Welcome to the Range, everybody. I'm your host, Ricky Bruley. Feels really good to be back in the pseudo studio here that we have to set up every time. It's been a few months, so kind of crazy. We got some cobwebs built up, so hopefully we can knock some of them off. And we actually have a very special guest today. He is a local legend in the male nursing space. So we figured we would have a conversation with him. Speaking of that, does anybody ever give you a hard time as your nickname, Gaylord Fokker?
Oh my God, dude. No, just you guys. I've been called a lot of things. Probably the lightest one. Rough stuff out there.
Yeah, I bet. So this is Kyle Fondie, Jared's son, and Hollywood had the pleasure of hunting with him last week out South Dakota. Just down for some mule deer.
Yeah, he was my guide.
And so we figured we'd have a little bit of a discussion about that. Originally, we were going to talk about our North Dakota trip. Hollywood and I actually had an opportunity to hunt together, which was super badass. And but we want to get Nate and see if we can get Damon on the pod as well. So we're going to record that episode next week. So stay tuned for that. And so yeah, Kyle, welcome, man.
Thanks.
Good to have you. This is I think episode 110 or something like that. I don't know. I've lost track, but either way, yeah. Thanks, man. So. Yeah. Tell listeners just a little bit about yourself and kind of what got you. I always like to ask this question: is what's the origin story? I mean, I think a lot of people could probably assume what got bow into your heart.
Right. But yeah, my dad. Yeah, but I didn't have much of a choice.
You forced it.
Yeah,
right out of the womb, you had a bow in your hand. But yeah, so just tell us a little bit about yourself and that origin story.
Yeah, so I grew up in Ham Lake with my dad. Started shooting when I was 3, probably.
Yeah.
Got the little, the bow with, 10, 20 pounds or whatever draw on it, shooting at the decoy in the backyard. But yeah, my dad, he was always doing archery things, so I just grew up around it. I think that's how most people get into archery is family or friends. But yeah, so... he started the business in the basement, making strings, and I'd watch him, sit there. I'd be bugging him to make me food or something. Yeah, so that's how I got into archery, but, that's really it, mainly.
Yeah, yours is pretty, obvious.
Right.
Your dad kind of started this. You don't have an option. So.
I think hunting-wise, though, I got into it. I mean, my dad got me into hunting, but he wasn't as big of a hunter. He was, I think maybe when he was, in his 30s or late 20s he was, but when he got older, he was more, I mean, I think he was just so busy with the business, he didn't have time for it and stuff, and kids and all that, but he was big into the target shooting more than anything.
Right. Yeah, I remember, when we go up to the cabin, and I'd always give him such a hard time because we'd just go hunt right out back.
Yeah.
And it would be 7:30, and I'd hear his truck fire up, and he'd go take off, go grouse hunting.
I know.
And I'm like, bro, it's only 7:30. I know he got in the stand for a little bit, but now as a dad, I get it, right? And just with all the obligations and everything going on and stuff like that, I kind of understand how it's when I do have an opportunity to sit in a tree, I sit and I just ruminate on all the things I have to do.
Right. Yes.
It just doesn't stop. I'm just oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And I'm it's hard for me to just settle down and calm down, you know.
Yeah.
So
he was like an overthinker too. I feel like he'd just get in the stand and be like, I want to do all these things. And he probably stressed about stuff at work too constantly.
Yeah.
Because we were busy and, you know, growing company at the time. So,
especially, and like bear hunting, like that's right in the heart of business.
Yeah.
Like,
we did that a few years. We went up with Ears and
yeah.
Steve and all them and made it and whatnot. But yeah, there wasn't many years we had time for it.
yeah. It was fun. That was some of my favorite memories, but it would take up every single weekend in August. Every Saturday we'd be hauling up there, and you know, before the sun comes up, you get up there, we'd have like 12 bait stations.
Yeah.
Get them all done and then turn around and come back.
Like it was a lot of work.
Yeah. But that was fun. That was actually my favorite part. Like the hunting part wasn't near as fun as the just running up there and stuff. But yeah, those are some good memories. I remember all those days hanging out, staying at the cabin and being up all night or waking up every hour because I can't remember the boys' names, Garrick and Colton, and they would sit and watch Cartoon Network. It would be on all night long.
Right.
And then you say wake up in this Cartoon Network and you go back to sleep. And then I would wake up and I'm getting my dirty sock stuffed into my mouth. Like,
yeah. Right.
If we're rascals, man.
There was no rules in that house.
No. Well, and just I wanted to preface too, so for any new listeners or anybody who's not real familiar with the Vapor Trail story, so Kyle's dad, Jared, is one of the original founders of Vapor Trail. He started with, you know, bowstrings and then eventually worked into the arrow rests and all that. So, but yeah, so let's talk a little bit about your South Dakota hunting trip.
Yeah.
How'd that all go down? Let's hear some good, funny stories, and you guys just start wherever you want.
I was just gonna say earlier when you guys are both dads, but I'm like, yeah, you don't have to worry about thinking about anything when you're Western hunting, because at least I feel that way. Like in a tree, I do. Like I don't have kids, but I'm like, oh, I should be doing this in the garage. Oh, I should clean that, because it's just you're sitting in a tree for so long. But you know, Western, it's like pounding hills and just like, what's the next move? What's the wind doing? You know, what's the play? There's so much calculation that I'm gonna think about anything else. Yeah, you know, for the most part.
I feel like when you're whitetail hunting in like Minnesota, it's like you're sitting in a tree, you're stationary, you gotta worry, you can't like move around, and out there that's like all you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll glass for a couple hours, but I mean, it's more like you wing it a little more than like you're not all like calculated on like I gotta get access through the specific area, and like, you know, you do have multiple areas marked out that you want to check out, but you know, it's not like you're stuck in one spot. You know, maybe 2 hours go by, you see a few deer, nothing, you know, that you want to go after, but you know, you just head to the next spot and try, you know, hike in, zip for a while. It's a whole different style of hunting. So
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, whitetails here, you know, so much of the strategy happens in front of the computer or, you know, and that's not to say that you're not pivoting while you're in the field, you know, but to your point, when you're out Western hunting, I mean, I didn't, when I was out there, yeah, I mean, I thought about my family and stuff like that, you know, once you get back to camp and you're kind of packing things up and you're thinking about that, but like this place, the only time I ever thought about it is when, you know, you and I something would come up and we would briefly talk about it, and then we'd be like, oh, we don't want to talk about that around here. We're hunting.
Yeah.
So back to the task at hand and focusing on what we're there to do. So yeah, I agree with that.
you definitely don't think about work much when you're out hunting. So
No. I mean, a little bit, just because our work is archery.
yeah,
Like you're probably not thinking like of whatever IBs you need to, you know, put in and administer or something.
No.
Like, damn, hopefully that guy lived. I'm gone for a couple days.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'd say that the whole thing with us hunting, I'm trying to think, it kind of start like last year when we stopped in. I think we were kind of talking like you were applying for a hunt, and then like, you know, I think we just said, you know, we should do it.
Yeah, and like last year I didn't hunt because I had a baby. from my wife, obviously. Thanks, wife. Yeah. Her name's Courtney. She's beautiful. I love her. I have to say that, otherwise I'll get in trouble, you know. If she he was like a good lady to me. She's good. Yeah, she was pushing a little bit to get me to come home.
Dude, Kat is wild.
I know, dude. It's nuts. She's, yeah. Hollywood saw. I walk just as bad, so I feel bad, Mom. Sorry. She's probably gonna listen to this too. So, yeah. What were we talking about?
Oh, just how we started.
Oh, how we started the idea of going out. I stopped by. I apply pretty much every year.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, Hollywood, just apply. You know, like, you know, we apply for limited access tags too, and you don't get them every year, but I mean, this kid got one on 1 out of 8 or 9 chance, 16% or something chance. He drew it. I'm like, it's like Rick in North Dakota.
Yeah, exactly.
But once in a while, you get lucky. But he has only been out there one time. I've been out there like 7 or 8, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And go ahead.
I was just going to say, for me, like, I know, like, we knew about the limited access thing, whatever, talked about that, but I was like, was like 2 years ago, I think I was last out there on just public, and I'm like, I'm never coming back to this state.
Yeah.
So I kind of told Kyle, I was like, you know, I'll go if, you know, we get that limited unit, but I did not expect to draw that first year. I was like, yeah, I made believe we're texting, like, yeah, you probably won't get it. Like, you know, it's first year try, but, well, damn it. Because I also drew North Dakota.
Yeah.
It's like, that's been a few years. So I'm like, you know, well, I'm going to both now, but now I'm in a spot for sure. Like, this tough spot, but pretty fun though too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard when you draw multiple tags and you're like, well, when do I go on a trip to this state and this state as well? Then you can hunt back home too in Minnesota, so.
Right. Yeah, there's, you know, you want to obviously hit the hot spots, you know, when they're moving, but
yeah. And you have life at home too. You can't really forget about that either. So.
Yeah, I was kind of on a rip there where, you know, Katie, she's probably feeling a little single because, I mean, I was gone for like 5 days initially, came home for, I say 2 days, but damn, it was basically a day and a half. And then I was back out with you again for another 5 days. And it's like back here for a day and then finally a weekend. Okay, and I'm back hunting again for whitetail. So, yeah, then on a rip. So,
yeah, and like, hunting wise, I mean, we can get into that too. These guys want to hear about hunting probably too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when we went out, it's kind of funny. We pull up to a spot, and we drove during the day. It's a 9-hour drive from 8.5 to 9.5 hours, depending on where you're going, from our house to out there. We pull up, we jump out of the truck. We're like, let's go glass this, you know, bowl and just see if there's anything in there. I'm like still setting up my spotting scope in Hollywood. Like, I see a buck. I'm like, what do you mean we see a buck? I'm like, dude, you literally looked through your binoculars for like 20 seconds.
I was like, he who needs a spotting scope.
Yeah, like, twist us.
I'm still wearing my North Face jacket and like,
yeah, we
like,
didn't even have cam or anything. No. We just jumped out of the truck and we're like so pumped to be out there.
In my Levi's, my Doc Martens, and I'm just like, hey dude, there's a buck right there, like right up in the drain. There's 3 other does. And he's like, what? Like, yeah, let's settle in. Let's do it.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, then they were like, you know, it's getting to be evening and the thermals will pull down into the bowl, and we're like, it's gonna be kind of tricky going after them. They're like in the bottom of this drainage. So we're like, well, we'll work our way around the top and kind of hunt the backside because it drops off on the backside of the top too. Kind of looked in there a little bit, didn't see a whole lot. So we kind of worked our way around the bowl. We ended up running out of time basically because it was evening. Did we go back there the next morning? I think we did.
No, we went to a different spot where we found that deadhead. And I was just gonna say too, like that first night we got there, we saw 3 bull elk.
Yeah,
like right away. Like, this area is just one of the most diverse places I've hunted because in the meantime we're walking to that buck, the mule deer.
Yeah,
see the 3 bulls, and then we also run into that freaking nice whitetail buck as well.
Yeah,
chasing a doe.
So I like 140 whitetail. He's all freaking out.
Our tags are good for both whitetail and muleys, and this unit too. So it's like, I told Kyle, I'm like, dude, if that thing's, you know, makes a mistake and runs this way, I'm done. I'm going for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the next morning we went to sat by that ranch up on that one.
Oh, we were on that. Yeah, right on the line of private and public. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deer were kind of sitting just on the other side of the fence like they usually do.
Oh, yeah.
They know what that line is.
Yeah, they see the marsh fires walk up to that line all day long.
Right.
It's like, huh.
Why did those guys shoot me?
And initially, like, I don't know about your thoughts. I mean, you may have been to that spot before, but like me, the last time I was out there, again, that was like normal public, and I'm like, expectations about like that much, because I'm just like mad. Like, my dad and I got on some nice bucks out there, but it took us a couple days to find them, and I'm used to other populations where I'm like, oh, there's one, my other does or whatever. Like, we did not see a lot, and then that morning, first morning, I'm like, it's kind of a slow start. What's about to happen here?
Yeah.
And then finally, the sun gets up a little higher. It's like, it turned into that.
Yeah, we just started showing. Yeah, we were like, there's literally deer everywhere, which is how it is out there. It's like right at daybreak or sunset, it's like the deer all over the place. And they're just hiding in drainages. You can't even see them if you're glassing all day.
Yeah, and that
Show up.
was, I feel like by luck, I saw that first big nice one. Like, I just happened to look, gosh, that had been like over half a mile for sure. Just 10 power binos. Like, Kyle, there's a nice looking one. Like, through my 10 power binos, it looks like a good body, but it's in one of those drainages, and it's still dark in them. And I don't know, their coat is so camouflaged, that grayish brown coat, so it blended right in. But yeah, we ended up watching him bad. But yeah, of course, he was like, what, 40, 50 feet or yards over
Drive ends, yeah.
So that was kind of a bust right away. But yeah, that first morning we were on him right away. I'm like, we might be into something here.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I didn't know what to expect, but
Yeah. Well, now I always like hunting the edges of like private and public because, yeah, you'll see a lot of the nicer deer because people are like, oh, they're probably gonna stand private, but you never know during that pre-rut or rut time because they'll chase anywhere. So,
right.
like the last day we were out there, we were also on like kind of a fence line area, and this dude's ranch has like 15 does in the backyard. He's like out on his side by side feeding the cows, and they're just sitting in his backyard, and there's a big buck just pushing all the does around.
Yeah.
Of course, they jumped the fence into public, and I was like, well, he's going there, so kind of jumped down and tried to chase him too. But yeah, it seems like, fence lines they're tricky because sometimes they just won't cross them, but you have really good areas to hunt.
And I'm sure, like, the private land guys, I mean, I have private land, you do too. Like, obviously, I think we all are like, that sucks having that outside pressure. But I mean, a strategy for us public land guys is like, check your ag fields, and, those private boundaries can be worth it.
And also, it's different out there because, like, over here, like, 10,000 acres has, 9,000 people that could be hunting, So out there, it's like the dude's ranch was probably 10,000 acres, So it's like the hunting pressure is different.
Yeah. Yeah, his one parcel, I think, was like 5,000 at just under, and then it's like, oh, here's a chunk of another 500, here's a chunk of another 1,000. It's like, okay. Yeah, that sucks having elk, whitetail, and muleys in your backyard. Couldn't imagine, or pronghorn either. Right now, it's like, good Lord.
Yeah, it makes me think of because I'm always amazed by that when we're out west, and you're sitting there and you're looking out over hundreds and hundreds of acres of public ground, right? And like every once in a while you'll see a hunter over on the other side of the bull or something like that, or sometimes I'll see like a pheasant or a grouse hunter or pheasant hunter or whatever. But that's why I don't mind it being limited draw. Like, I'm fine with it not being able to tag like every 3 or 4 years just because of that.
Yeah, and honestly, like, there you can draw about every other year, but I honestly every like second or third year I'd be fine with it. Like, yeah, I wouldn't be able to hunt as much, but your hunting up experience would be a lot better.
Right. And truthfully, I feel like, I don't know, like when I got to North Dakota, like I got out of the car and I just like kiss the ground. I'm like, oh, it's so good to be back. Yeah, like, I just, it's been a few years. Like, of course, I want that every year, but I also almost feel like there's a pressure. It's weird. Like, I don't know if everyone else gets this way. I almost feel like a little stress, like, because we never know when we're going to get drawn for this state or that state. But I'm like, where am I going to be next year? But I want to go back to everywhere next year. So then you apply for all these things. And like some of them, you can't just take a point. You have to actually apply to the draw. And then it's like you get drawn. Oh, shoot. Like what happened to me this year is like, now I have 2 tags. But if it was every couple of years, then I can be like, okay, well, this year I'm going to try and get into Montana. This year I'm going to try and do New Mexico and, maybe structure it a bit more. But like, I feel like there's almost a little bit of stress involved because I'm like, damn, like I'm definitely going to go for this state next year, but I'm also required to put in for this state. And if I get drawn for that one too, well, hell, I don't think most of them let you just take a refund. So, well, some do. Like, some can sell your tag back in Colorado. Okay. I believe. I'm not sure about Montana or I made some of those other states, but I'm going for 3. I'm going to go for the record 3 in a row in North Dakota. Yeah. Dude, if I wild. That ain't going to happen, but either way, I'll put in. But I learned some new information about South Dakota, and so I'm going to start applying for South Dakota again, just because I learned that you can have a tag. Oh, you can still access. You can still access it and even with your bow. You just can't kill an animal in that.
You can use it to access other pieces of like trust land and stuff.
And you could go up and because the 2 mule deer the 1 mule deer that I killed in South Dakota was not in, but I was watching it from. So it's like, oh well, if that's the case, it does limit me because if I do see something in the area, that I can't really do much about it unless I could push it out, right. But still, just knowing that, it's like, maybe I would consider it because, hopefully you get the access permit, but if I don't, then I'm not, because that was one of the reasons why I quit applying. Because I'm like, I don't want to spend $270 and then now I got to go out there and find new ground to hunt. Yeah, I mean, right. I know where the deer are. Yeah, I don't want to have to spend my first 3 or 4 days trying to find a bee. Yeah, like I just want to go to where I know where they're at and do it. And yes, time still wins it, but yeah.
Well, these days it's a little bit easier because the mapping is so good. Like on the internet, it's like I do most of my scouting like within a month of going out, but I'll spend an hour or 2 just on the Onyx or whatever, some kind of mapping system, right? Oh, and you're just looking for terrain features that they like, or like, can I get through to access this trust land? And I actually I wasn't sure either about that. One year I was out there hunting and I called the conservation officer and I'm like, can you go through to get to, an area that isn't to hunt out there? And he said, as long as you're not hunting, then you can access the other side. I mean, it's probably difficult to enforce, but I mean, if you're not dragging a dead deer out,
Well, that's where I was kind of surprised when I heard that because I figured, okay, well, you can access it, but you probably can't have a bow with you. And then I was told, no, you can have it. You just can't hunt there. Yeah. I'm like, well, that's some gray area. I know what I mean? So I figured that, the South Dakota Game and Fish would just be like, to avoid that gray area, they would just say you can't have a bow in there if you don't have an access permit. But yes, or fine.
Yeah. As long as you're not taking an animal on it, which makes sense. It's just a little bit harder to enforce. But I suppose if you get one, they can always have you bring them back to the gut pile and be like, here's where I killed the deer, Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally just lost my train of thought. Nice. I was just gonna say the mapping system thing, like Onyx, I feel like it's complacency on my end, but like the whole mapping stuff, I didn't even know you could do the 3D stuff until you're showing me. I'm like, what is that?
It's like, dude, I've been doing it wrong the whole time.
Yeah, I remember when you came in and you were like, dude, did you know that you can do this? And he like showed me. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, it's been like that for probably 5 or more years, maybe. Like, I don't know. Yeah, well, Mr. Tech guy over here. I'm like, I know Excel spreads, but I don't know all the techie stuff like this.
Well, I'm not trying to make fun. I'm more or less
No,
just
good.
like pitying you for not being able to have access to that feature.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's so
Yeah.
big, yeah.
Yeah.
And especially out there, because you have like drainages and like cliffs and all kinds of stuff in certain areas that you can, if you look at it in 3D, you can see how the wind's gonna move around that stuff. Not
Right.
easier.
Yeah, and I'm working on a 2D going, okay, I know like topography, like the lines and stuff, like gradations and all that stuff, but I'm like, ever since he showed me that, I'm like, dude, you can like literally visualize yourself being there. And I'm like, exactly, with the winds, the thermals, like those saddles that you want to get in, this is the route I want to take. And then even like when you put a mark on a deer, I'm like, this is like almost cheating now. Like I'm gonna say it's like cheating.
You like ham back to the tree.
Yeah, go to 3D, and like I was kind of watching how Nate was doing it, and that's kind of how I, learned a little bit off of him for Onyx, and I'm like, then I started spotting my own, when you guys had left, and it's like, okay, right there, and it's like exactly on the spot it was standing at. I'm like, oh my God, this 3D feature is just insane. Minus the fact where I had like 0 signal, so I pull it up and it's just like one big green pixel, and I'm like, huh, helpful. This is all blurry, so
Yeah.
good.
Even some, one of the stocks that I did when we were in North Dakota, when you're looking at just the flat 2D version of it, like you can see the topo, and you can kind of go, okay, well maybe I'd get spotted if I tried to come around this little point right here. But when you can shift it into 3D and you can actually physically see, like, will that deer see me?
Yep.
Line of sight if I try to go around this ridge. And so then it lets you know, well, I don't want to risk it. So then that's why Nate was like, you guys got to go up and over the saddle. And so we went straight up like 50 feet up this one through this saddle to get to the other side. So we didn't risk getting around and him seeing us. And that, I mean, you could always, err on the side of caution and just do it that way. But having that 3D feature looking, you're like, okay, he's definitely going to see me if I try to come around that ridge. So then you come up the backside.
I almost felt like a Sherpa in that way. Like we were waiting for you and Damon to get over, and Nate and I are like on our phones, just like, 3D image, swinging the imagery around. Like, okay, he's bedded up in this corner. So if you were to go here, angle it down, it's like, okay, yeah, it looks like you might be able to catch your heads if you were to come around here. It's like, and then Nate's like, oh yeah, they got to do this. It's like we had a travel plan set for you.
Yeah, it worked out both things. We got it worked out perfect. we had to hike 3 times further than we probably, there might have been another way to do it, but it didn't take long. I mean, it's 45 minutes.
Yeah, you guys are all vision and together there,
and it's funny too talking with Damon, because he looks at stuff and he's just like, oh my gosh, that looks so far away. And I'm like, well, we could probably do it. And, I get close, but I usually misjudge it. It usually takes us just a little bit longer to get there. But on that particular one, like we were in position pretty quick.
Yeah.
And it helped that we had, I mean, I kid you not, we had a cattle trail that we were able to follow almost the whole way.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, and I even stopped and I told Damon, I was like, it's almost like the good Lord's going to make this happen, because we are able to just haul on this cattle trail all the way through.
We could have had so many times in South Dakota.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so day 2, or where were we with your Dakota hunt?
So day 2, that was that morning we went out.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's the first full day. And then that morning, I mean, well, we ended up kicking up another, and then we kind of let them bed off, and then you want to check a different little draw, and then we saw another nice one, and that's where we kind of sat up on that ridge. Like, we were trying to piece it together. It's like, one of those drainages where, there's water down there too, but there's like a finger here, and like we moved so the wind would be like perfect, and honestly I could have just like bombed right down this hill, but we sat there for what, like an hour and a half, because we're like, how the hell are we going to make this work?
Right. Yeah.
There was just like, the longer you look in the trees, like there's a buck, there's a doe, oh, there's 4 does, like who's not watching,
Yeah. I know. Yeah. That was the hardest part about hunting out there for us, was just the amount of deer grouped up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say it was still pre-rut for the mule deer because their rut's a little later out there. But this is like Minnesota whitetail or something, but a Midwest whitetail, I guess. But
Right. But yeah, we ended up bailing on that one though too, because it's like, okay, they might not exactly see us, but how many deer are hiding in those drainages we can't see down, and then just kick out the whole flipping area. So we just kind of let that one go, and I think then we just kind of drove around for a bit.
yeah, I think we in the afternoon we hiked into a spot. I trying to think the second night. I know we were in that. We went back to the bowl that we saw the 4x3 the first night.
Yeah.
We went back there, and then he was bedded right next up to a rock. Like, it was this massive boulder, and he was, like, right up tight. His back was basically touching it, tree in front of him. He's got a downhill look at everything, and wind coming around the rocks, right into him. I was like, dude, I don't think we're going to be able to get that deer.
No.
Then he did get up and move, though.
Yeah, that was the days like 20 plus mile an hour winds too. Like we could move freely, but I mean, yeah, it was just like, again, the drainages, we knew there's going to be something down there, and here's how many more deer down there that, it was, in the way. And then I did make that one, I don't know, kind of a pedestrian effort, but, that weird little stock, where you drop me off, that was, yeah, we were cruising that one evening, and like we had like what, an hour left of daylight or something.
Yeah, we saw it in doe and a buck kind of up on this hill. It was actually like a ridge that had like a little drop, and then there was a little flat spot on it, and then dropped again, and they were up on the flat area, just watching the road basically.
Yeah, it's like a Hank Hill thing. Just this buck sitting up on a hill, just looking down on everything. But
when I dropped you off, and I'm like, I'm just gonna keep driving, they'll probably think I just left, So I drove up a little ways where the got behind like a hill, they couldn't see us. Dropped him off, and I'm like, I'll just keep driving and kind of scout a little bit, then I'll come back. And you were gonna go up over the ridge and try to come around, like kind of do a hook on him.
yeah,
Yeah, just so you didn't get winded.
Yeah, because the wind at the time when we, dropped off was blowing right through them. But since I was far enough away and just using the hills and trees to my advantage, and then climb up the backside, like, dude, I hauled the mail getting up there. I was cruising to just get up there, and then, yeah, I mean, eventually it didn't really work out, but it's just like, I didn't think I was going to get as close as I did. Like, that was just kind of stupid how it worked out. Like, it's one of those things where, as I'm learning, I feel like we talked about that too. Sometimes I feel like you have to be a little more aggressive, like just, go for it, because if you sit on your heels, all the time, well, the wind's not exactly perfect. Well, damn, I was surprised twice when I was out there, the wind not being perfect, and I had close opportunities. And like that one there is kind of funny because Kyle's sitting down on the road, distracting them, and then I'm like, danger close, like just trying to at one point there's like this pine tree that I don't know what pines I think you said it right, ponderosa lines. Yeah, so there's like growing out of this rock face, and I'm like, to the path to the left, the easiest, is all solid rock but full of pine cones, and I'm like, I can't touch a single thing in there because it's so quiet. I'm getting, at this point, if I look over this rock face, it's going to be right there. So I'm like, I got to be super quiet and stealthy. And to the right, though, the tree's in the way, big part of the tree. And then there's this like rock that I'm standing on. And then it's just sheer cliff. Yeah. But it's like a 3-foot gap to the other side of the rock. And I'm like, this is going to be tough, but I'm doing it. So I grab onto the tree, like a tree branch, bend it out of the way so it's not rubbing on anything. I put this foot here on this side. I'm like reaching across as far as I can with this foot. And I'm like, oh my God, like, please nothing break, nothing fall out.
Like in his life here.
Yeah. And so I literally just used that branch and swung my foot around, and, this happened, catch good balance and everything. And you got over, and then I get out on that rock face, and I hear like more gravel a little bit. And I'm like, oh, Kyle's just taking off, whatever, no big deal. And I look over, and it's like, oh, there's another truck coming. So then that like got in my head for a second, because like, do I stop what I'm doing? Like, you probably can't or wouldn't even notice me, but what's the big deal? I don't know. It kind of threw me for a second. I'm like, F it. And then Kyle, I could hear them talk, like, could hear your voices anyway. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. The deer probably have no idea. And eventually I get over this rock face and I see the doe. She's already up, staring right at the trucks, a couple 100 yards away. And she was 58, I think I ranged her at. And I'm like, okay, I don't see the buck anywhere. Like inch over, and peak. Oh, it's 21 yards. Like this freaking buck is going to be like 6 feet. Yeah. Like it's going to be close. I mean, the rock face itself was probably 20, 30 feet high, but it would have been straight down and finally into the hole. Like, all right, it's go time. Get over and where's the buck? Like, what the hell? And like at that point, the wind is just ripping over my back. I'm like, I've got seconds, to go. And sure enough, the doe finally threw her right up. I'm like, oh, it's done. It's done. And she turns out, starts going away. And all of a sudden, you couldn't have seen it, but the other little hump, like Kyle was saying, is like a double step, set like point sort of thing. And he was right behind that hump. Could never see him, just with the stuff in the way and the angle I was at. And then he came tearing out of there with her. I'm like, no, that's done. But yeah, that was kind of just like, oh, we didn't see anything else. So, you guys can talk, go for it if you want. Pretty much how it rolled. And that one didn't pan out. But, and you spotted that one real nice one too. That, I think the same day we were on that 3x4. I was way out in the bowl. And that was like,
that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a no doubter there.
Yeah, I was telling Rick, I'm like, yeah, I think that was like the first deer that I saw Kyle actually go like, oh yeah, that was a nice deer.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so
I've been out there now.
Like, it must be a real good deer. But we lost sight of him, pretty early on.
Yeah. He was with some does, and then he actually broke off a group of like 3 or 4 does, went and checked another group. It's funny, you don't see that in Minnesota, but out there, it's like you can watch them check doe groups.
Wow, their behavior.
Yeah, like you don't get to see that until you go out west. But yeah, and then he was a 4x4, nice and wide and tall. He was, I don't know, 150 inches maybe. But yeah, we were like, it was right at last light almost. So we're like, well, we'll kind of leave it alone, come back the next day. I think we tried to get down there a little bit just to see if we could see where he went, traveling wise, for the next day. And then, of course, being me, I'm like, let's try different spots.
There's a big buck over there, but
he's probably getting annoyed.
I was like,
whatever I know, dude. I was like, but it was evening, they could be a mile away, right? The pre-rut, like, versus where they're gonna be in the evening when they even go back there.
That other thought was the wind. The wind was
That's true. I think the wind
so
would too.
like if we do this, we're gonna have to go totally different spots.
Yeah, we would have to come a whole different route. So we were like, well, let's go. It was only like 2 miles down the road. He could have went over there even, but different section of Custer. And we got up on the hill. That was the 3rd day, and it was cool. I mean, we got up there. Never been to this spot, brand new.
Oh,
and first thing we see is 2 big elk, walking across the prairie field. I'm like, this is weird. You think you'd see them in the mountains,
right? That's cool.
Yeah, 2 big bulls walking, and I think we saw that was the same spot we saw that big whitetail too.
Yeah, that buck was. Well, that was I think the first thing I saw in the morning. Sorry, I'm letting Daryl know we're doing a podcast. So yeah, that was I think the first thing I saw that morning. Like you and Meg have seen some does already or something.
Yeah.
And then I was just looking off in the distance. It's like one of those things. It's entertainment, but they're so far on private land, and this whitetail is just harassing the does. Like they're cruising everywhere. I was like, holy cow, like that's a nice deer. And yeah, Kyle got some good footage of that thing through his spotter.
Yeah.
It's like we just watched them, run that field like all morning. And
they did head our way though. They crossed the fence from private over. It just took them a few hours. We sat up, You had like was it a doe or a small buck came like right below us? He was so dumb.
I was just gonna say, like, we honestly probably would have been able to get after them, but there's like first it was the bull elk. We're like, okay, they gotta go hustle up here, like, cross the line and get going. Man, they were just freaking dragging their hose, just taking their time, like.
Wouldn't you if you were like 800 pounds?
Yeah. Yeah. Kyle's like, they look tired. I was like, yeah, they did. They looked like they were exhausted just from walking. But it's like, had to wait for them. And then Kyle's like, I think we should get down there because he knew, like, they were going to go in this drain and like, we should probably make a move. Like, it was a nice whitetail to go after. And, I think we knew there's some mule deer bucks over here in this bowl, but we're like, well, whatever, they'll bed. they'll bed down, they'll be there. But then it's like, I think, yeah, I picked up on that deer. I'm like, oh God, there's a freaking little dink coming in from the private, right at us. And Kyle's like, it's gonna come right to us. He's like, let's just watch. Sure enough, we're like watching this stupid thing. I'm like, Kyle, I'm gonna lace this stupid thing. It's both of our eye. Like, we've already had enough. Like, not that we had a lot of failed stalks. It's just
It was like the last full day we had.
yeah. And I'm like, coming out of North Dakota, that was, nothing. I didn't even let an arrow off the string. So it's like, you got that. And then just the amount of money I spent starting to, realize I'm like, okay, something's got to go. And I'm like, well, if this deer is between us and a bigger deer, like, we got 2 tags. So F it.
Yeah.
That dude, well, I mean, we were so high up on a rock face though.
It was steep. It would have been a steep shot.
Yeah. I mean, he eventually came at, I think, like 70 yards straight downhill, but me being me, the bow's, completely locked up and thrown into the backpack.
5 feet over. I gotta do a huge movement. He's like,
Yeah.
we'd have to move a ton just to get your bow, and he's already like right there looking at us.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. It was more or less a joke because it's like, no, I don't really want to blow the morning on a stupid little 6-pointer or whatever the heck he was, but. Whatever. If you're gonna walk all the way up this cliff face, I'm about to grab Kyle's bow and just send it with that. But yeah, it's like my pack was just 5 feet over. Just completely buckled in bow. Yeah, it was not gonna work. But he eventually got the hell out of there. Yeah,
We did.
his own.
So we went after that bigger whitetail. There was 2 actually. There was another whitetail out there too,
Right.
chasing does. But
And he just kind of ghosted us because I was the one that went more toward the right.
yeah.
Right.
Well, and then once there was that bigger whitetail that with the doe, and he was chasing her. He dropped her down into a drainage, and we were like, "Dude, they can't see us." So we were like, "Well, let's get down real quick from this hill, get all the way down." And then we like basically ran at them, like because they were down in the drainage, just to make up some time, and we got pretty close. We were like, it took too long to get to them before they had moved, and the drainage had gone 3-4 different directions. So you're like, well, he could be in any of these different spots,
Right.
Yeah. So, and then we saw their deer, so we started going after them, and because we lost them.
Ooh, shiny red ball. There's
Yeah.
also this. I've been there.
Yeah.
But we lost that one, and at least temporarily, and then we started going after these other deer. There was a doe, and he's like, I'll take a doe. It's like the last day.
Yeah, that's where cards were already folded. So I'm like,
And then he just happens to look over to his left, and on the top of the drainage in this sage patch, that whitetail's like looking at a doe. He like has no clue. We're in the middle of this field, basically. Has no clue we're there. He's just so distracted. Like, well, I'm gonna go run at them, I guess. Try to get close.
yeah, I was like, you can go after them. I'm settling, like, whatever. I'm just going at this doe that's over here. I don't care if you want to try and get that buck, run it. But yeah, I just happened to look over. It's like this whitetail doe comes hauling out of that drainage. I'm like, what the hell's that? And then look up, I'm like, Kyle. Like, it's right there. It's like, oh shit, wide open field, and here we are, 2 bean poles just
We lay down. We lay down like it's gonna make a difference.
yeah. Get the ground blind, get the goose blind going. Yeah. But Kyle, I think you got pretty close, didn't you? I mean, you did literally like take
I
off
got out.
after them.
Yeah, there was like 2 drainages, and I couldn't tell if they went the first or the second one. And I got over the first one, didn't see anything. Came over the next one, and I saw like I don't know. I thought it was a doe. It could have been like a button buck or something. But it was like going through the drainage, doing all these licking branches, checking them all and whatnot. But I didn't see him. Like, I had no clue where he went. And I couldn't find, he was right behind that doe. So he probably just pushed her a long ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just lost him.
Yeah. And those drainages, they're just so tough. Yeah, I mean, they hit down once and it's like, all right, well, could be any one of those trees now.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Quick side story. That when you were talking about being two bean poles stuck out in the middle of nowhere, so it made me think of this. This one time, me and my buddy Cal were hunting out in North Dakota, and we're just kind of we're like side hilling, trying to get into this position, right? And all of a sudden we stop, and there's a good sized whitetail, like maybe 150 yards down this drainage. He's looking right at us, and I'm like. And we had one of those Montana decoys of the cow.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey, pop that cow decoy up real quick. So he pulls it off my pack, and all of a sudden just, we got this cow in front of us, We were laughing so hard because we're like looking through the little screen or whatever. And this whitetail's just staring us down, right? And I'm like, he's not convinced. We need to make the cow pretend he's eating. So we're like, chop, 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 chop. Just start laughing.
What you saw before was never here.
Yeah.
He wasn't having it. He took off. But man, we were just having a blast with that decoy. I want to get another one. Those things through.
I was thinking that, like, especially the last, 10 days, I'm just like, man, that, having one of those, some type of decoy, it would, kind of help, just maybe making curious enough to go, what the hell is that? And give you a few steps one way or another, and
maybe don't bring it out during the gun season when you're both.
Oh, hell no. Yeah. I mean, it's okay. Those guys out west apparently can't hit the broadside of a barn, at least in my experience. So they let you dance a few times, but hitting the dirt. But yeah, I mean, that I was half expecting you to freaking kill over there. It's just like one of those. It's just kind of like one of those circus things where you're like, no way this works out.
It's not gonna work, but I'm trying it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes you never know, dude.
Exactly. So I was like, probably gonna come back with one, and then I'm still in the sage bushes, just rolling around the effing dirt. Because every time I try to stand up, it's like, oh, here comes another one. Here comes another one. Here comes another one, and then this buck is like chasing does around. I'm like, kill me. And I think I just finally stood up out of the dirt again. I turned around, and Kyle's already coming back. I'm like, that probably looks like I just did nothing for the last hour. Since I didn't.
Yeah.
It's like one of those stupid things. They're up on that ridge, and it's like, what's the most open side? The side I'm on. Again, any movement, you're done. So cooked. Like, yeah, nothing happened there at all. It's just like, what the hell did we do? But whatever. I mean, just keep going on. Yeah. I think, was it that night that we did what I call like the redneck hunting, and I finally
driving around like the locals.
Let my eyes do the walking out here.
Yeah.
Let the tired dude rolling.
Right. Well, we did have that. We were down in the bowl. I think it was like the second or third night. We had like busted a few deer. So we're like, well, let's get down there. We know there's some back here. And there was like a kind of an island that came up in the middle of the bowl. And I'm like, all right, you go around this way. And I'm going to wait a little bit. And then I'll start pushing the other side. And we knew there was a saddle in there. I'm like, you get over to the saddle. And then I'll push them. They'll have to go through it.
Yeah.
That almost worked. I mean, you were... I guess, I don't know, what did you range them at, 70 yards or 80?
Yeah, it was like 83. And I mean, the timing was damn near perfect. I had a couple of those that they came around that island, and, I just squatted down. I'm like, oh boy, I think that's the first little group. I'm like, here we go. And then I was like, again, I'm just settling with anything at this point. So I'm starting to range things. I'm like, this doe might come barreling down straight in front of me 50 yards away. So send it if she does. And they all went down the drainage away from me, and I'd start working a little bit closer and quiet, to see if I could get into that saddle a little bit closer. And then I think I took like 5 more steps, and I just get over this little hump. It's like an opposite skyline. They came over the hump, but I'm tall enough to where they can see me, and I'm seeing them. They're looking down at me, and I'm like, uh-oh. 50 yards in front of me, 2 does staring. I'm like, it's starting. The stampede is literally going to be starting. And then here comes another doe and another doe. They're just flying out of there. I'm like, good Lord, it's range at 93 on the far side. I'm like, this is going to be a poke. They're going to have to stand still a second. But yeah, eventually, I think I made a couple more movements. Clutter, those does took off, and then I ended up ranging another spot because I'm like, well, maybe something will run a little bit closer, and that was like the 83, 85 or something like that. And sure enough, I started seeing this rack start coming out of the bottom. I'm like, oh, here we go. And then sure enough, I draw back, and I'm set to 80, so I'm like, all right, hold a little high. There's not a thing in the world stopping that deer. I mean, just full draw, but
well, and I pushed him out of the drainage. We saw him go in there in the morning, so
right.
We knew he was in there with few does, and there's like literally a cliff on the other side. They can't go anywhere but through the saddle unless they come back at me.
Right. Yeah.
So I knew they were gonna go by him, but
yeah, and there was not one of those rants in the world that would have stopped. We're just kind of finally yell hey at him, and he's just like looks at me as he's running by. He's like, hell no, give me the burn. Give me the bird. Yeah. Like I almost thought, because they were kind of trapped between me and the 30-foot rock wall, and I was like, you were kidding me, because I just start seeing funnel up to this like little spot.
Yeah, they're gonna get out there.
No,
it's too steep, but
yeah,
they kind of went up there just to get out of his way. And
yeah, and then at that point, I think Kyle came around, and I'm like, dude, they might be right up ahead here. They were everywhere, but kick them out. I mean, you're probably right. They got into that drainage and just, barrel out of there.
Go a long ways quick.
Yeah. Especially on that instance. Yeah, so we were definitely that public land crew that just, blew that whole bowl apart. But
yeah, it's not going back there the next day. And actually, we drove by the next day, and there was a truck parked there, and at that bowl, and we're like, sorry guys,
leave them a note.
Yeah,
sorry. I mean, they're a little skittish. Give them a day or two. My bad. But
yeah, I guess it would be bad if you just like blew the buck out of there or something like that. But off all the does, but bailed too. You're like, oh god, wherever they're going is where the bucks are going.
So it was a stampede. I mean, they might have hung around, but they're probably gonna be on edge for sure the next day. And that was that same spot where Kyle saw that real nice one, but the wind was just gonna be completely different. And I'm just parked in a different spot, all this stuff, and that's where those guys were parked. They're like, ooh, hopefully we didn't totally ruin everything. Yeah, sorry.
But all right, hold up just a second. Mark this. Hey Daryl, you can roll the door up if you want. And then if anybody comes in, we'll just don't worry about it. Just carry on. We don't have turns right. I just figured, well, is it a door surprise? Just so you know, too, those quivers, we only have 4. The guy ordered 5.
What?
I don't know if you could. Yeah. I don't know if you want to just give him a call and just say, hey, we've got red and camo if you want to sub. Otherwise, we'll refund him for one of them. Fine. I'd probably pull those things off the website.
Holy shot, arrow.
Yeah, he bought 5.
He's just going to do like a bandolier of freaking arrow.
Right. So, all right, but we can continue on. So what else? Any other encounters that you guys had out there, or is did you guys hit there?
It was most of them, yeah. I guess the last day, I kind of talked about that at the beginning, but there was the one in the guy's ranch or whatever. That was kind of the last day, but it's really, I got blew out by a doe, usual, but we're there, yeah.
They're always there to freaking let everyone know that we're there. That's annoying as hell. Yeah, dude, it was so funny. I guess we finish up the little part and circle back because it's just funny how Kyle relayed it to me. But yeah, that night we basically just drove around and we're like, well, let's see what our eyes can pick up on the side of the roads over here, and not to sound all sketchy, side of the roads. I mean, these are roads back in public hunting. It's not like it's a 2-track thing. Yeah. So we're driving around. And it's like, I think, did you go first? I think you did on that one doe.
I tried to sneak up on one, and that didn't work out.
It was just like, just the Hail Mary type
Yeah.
attempts. It's so funny to watch. And
When we were like, oh, we got like half hour left maybe, so we're like, we'll drive out of here, and of course there's one standing at the edge of this drainage, and it runs right in front of the truck. I'm like, all right, whatever, get out, try to go get her. Like, we do need to bring some meat home. It would be nice.
Right.
He gets out. Like, as you can tell, like, he shot the deer.
Well, I wanted to say, like, yours, it was so funny to me because, like, it's kind of similar. Like, there's a doe stand up on this edge, and we go and park around, and you get out, get the wind right, and then I'm, like, taking a video just from the truck. I wasn't going to risk my wind. I'm like, there he goes. And then, like, oh, he must be getting close. And then, like, Kyle disappears. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I thought it was just flat up there.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, it's been a little bit. Stop recording, and then, like, I don't know what's going on over there. Like, you must be in it thick. So I'm just sitting in the truck doing whatever, listening to some radio show or something. And then I'm like, look over my shoulder. Boom, here goes this doe just fast as hell. Just hauling ass right by the truck. And like, I grab my camera as fast as I can and start going on the video. And I'm like, I don't see an arrow. I'm like, maybe it's stuck on the far side. And I just finally, but common sense kicks in. I'm like, oh, she's not wounded. She's getting out of there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that must have not happened. She goes flying by. There's like a 10-second clip of me like in the truck. I'm like that, and just tails just flying.
Really busted out. I thought there was one deer. There's 4 of them all in the sage bush, and they all just bust out of there, and they're like going everywhere. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was so funny. So we get his arrow back, and then
Yeah, it took a little poke at one, but it was, I think, I don't know if I hit a branch or what, but it was in kind of a sage bush. It was broadside, but there was so much junk in the way.
Yeah, it's definitely an effort I respect, and I would probably done the same. I mean, broadside in a stupid bush, why not? But
Yeah.
oh, we forgot about the little buck that I did some hair cutting.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was hoping we were going to get to.
That was
red
right.
shirt.
Or
Wanted to talk about it.
Oh, that
Oh,
one.
no.
Yeah, we should.
That one was honestly, I'm trying to think. Well,
Right off the road, we saw it. It was like in a little pocket, kind of.
yeah. I literally was like telling Kyle, like, because Kyle's like, this spot, I've had some nice deer in before or whatever, and you can see them from the road and whatnot. So we're just like, yeah, let's glass it up. And I think I was literally in the middle of a sentence going like, and you got like the guys that have hunted mule deer, like we know it, like that little pocket that it's just like a dirt bowl like background to them or backdrop, and it's like
in the shade.
yeah, in the shade. And I'm like, it'd be weird for them to be this low. Dude, there's a buck right there. I'm like, no way. Like he's like 200 yards, line of sight, no higher elevation, actually below us, like the lowest part on the hill. And like, I mean, what is he gonna look at? Like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like,
Just watching the road, dude.
it's just,
Yeah.
it's just like you could tell he was kept from the group or something because he is not. I mean, it wouldn't be the spot that you normally see a mature buck at.
Yeah.
So, and again, it was just the whole like I want to fill one of the 2 tags I have, and so we ran back the same plan. All right, we're gonna drive up ahead and
Drop you off again, and you go for it. And I'll just sit in the truck and watch.
yeah. And again, so going way back when we're talking like mapping, my dumb self, like we didn't really know we'd be hunting together because I didn't have confirmation with the whole PTO thing around here. So
That's a whole podcast episode in and of itself. So much bullshit.
so, yes. So I downloaded offline maps for a different section that was close to a private landowner I knew. So I was like, you know what? I'll just stay in his house and whatever. Well, I never downloaded maps for up where we were. And so we're down there. It's like no signal for me basically the whole trip. Never once thought about, hey, I should download an offline map. So I'm like, again, back to using your tools. Like on Onyx, you can sit there and go, okay, so this exact one. Well, I pulled up Onyx and it's just, 4 pixels on my screen. And like, okay, this is worthless. So I'm just doing like the, okay, crap, like the, the wide angle view here, and just like, all right, this is roughly where he is, trying to put it in my head. I was rushing, and you and Nate are going on in my head, like, take a photo. And I'm like, that. Like, he's right outside the road. I don't eat that crap. Like, let's get going.
So hard to tell. Dude, it's so hard to tell when you come from a different angle. You're like, I swear they were right there.
Right. Yeah.
Well, like, 20, 30, maybe 40 yards over from where you thought.
Yeah.
You're like, and you got to be right on sometimes just for the shot angle.
Yeah. And that happened to me just the week prior where, that was literally what happened to me. I'm like, oh, I thought it was down that way. And then my pecker head pokes up and frickin', he catches my shadow and I'm like, that's done because he's like right there, not there. So, yeah. And, that happened to me when I got up, I circle around, go through this little, like, I don't know, wetland area.
I'm up there waving out of the truck like, go left.
Well, again, like, just the wind is just terrible. So it's just going back to you got to be aggressive at some point. Just send it. And, thankfully Kyle was there because I'm thinking like, okay, because there's kind of like two of those pockets. And I'm like, I think it's this one. And like part of me thinks this is too close. So I got to keep going. I look over at Kyle. Like, thankfully, we're in close enough eyesight. He's like waving at me. And I'm either to the
one side,
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, thank God I'm on, this track. But it's so weird. Like the wind can be ripping like it was at the buck. Yeah. Well, once you get in on, all of a sudden it's like, just like 2-mile-an-hour breeze, like, nothing. And it's just silence and, occasional gust. And it's like, I'm trying to just carefully walk through these, sage bushes and everything. And finally Kyle gives me the, come in on them. I'm like, heart rate goes up a little bit.
Getting real.
And, jumping ahead, I think you gave me one signal, come back at one point, and I just kind of, whatever. I just didn't click, didn't happen, whatever. I'd start working in, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be coming around where he's kind of facing, so it's going to be a frontal. And he's watching it from the road and seeing what the deer's doing. I can't see nothing because of that drop, and I finally, get a little bit closer.
He stood up eventually, that deer.
Yeah, and I had no idea that was going on. And finally, there's like this drainage just to my left. And I'm like, well, maybe he tears out of there. Otherwise, I'm thinking he's just going to peel out and go straight away from me, and there's no shot. But sure enough, I start seeing like this rack coming through, and I think it's just like kind of a little forker, maybe had a little browse in it out.
Yeah.
Like this an absolute flash is what happened. There's, I've blacked out the whole moment, but he came, starts moving and running up toward me, and here he comes flying out of the drainage, and I'm like, oh God. And with my sights set for 25, 35, 45, just thinking, probably closest I'll get is 25. So just, the low, low, high, we're in the set. And he comes tearing out of there before I can do anything with the sight. And I just drew back right away. I'm like, that looks about 40. And so put the pin just a little low underneath his, brisket. And then 35 was sitting just, I can't remember the 35. It kind of just, again, blacked out, but I saw all the pins there, and the 45 was low. That's what I knew for sure. I'm like, he ain't past 40, that's for sure. You got to be like at 40 or just under. Let her rip, because he stopped. Like, I didn't make any sounds. I think he was just surprised, but I was there, because eventually my wind, you're what, 100% off of that there. But yeah, he stopped for a millisecond, and I left the arrow rip, and it was just sick. Like, you can black out everything that happened before, but that arrow flight, you just see the sun shining through the pink veins, and it's just like on its track, and then poof. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, no. This freaking arrow goes right off of his back, and it's just a puff of freaking fur everywhere.
Like Randy Johnson hit the bird, but
yeah, that's exactly the image in my head. It's just like poof, just this puff of fur and feathers, like essentially just big old puffball. I'm like, damn it! Like right away, I knew. And I just hit the ground and just hit my knees, whatever. If he is gonna run up a little further, and grab the rangefinder. Okay, maybe gonna stop at that spot, 70 yards away, drop the sight down, grab an arrow, and we all know. Yeah, his skin was a little bit colder at that moment, so he was just, he was not stopping. It just gone with the wind all the way up the hill, didn't stop till 200 yards away, and I, went and grabbed my arrow, I don't even think I ranges it, but if I were to guess, it's probably like 38, something like that. But that's hunting, I mean, expect one thing, and when they come hauling out of the freaking drainage like that, it's
You don't got much time.
no, the one before when we did the drive, it's like he was going so fast, wasn't even thinking of shooting. This one literally stopped, gave me 2 milliseconds to do it, and I sent it. But yeah, I got my arrow back out of the dirt. Good blood on that paint. This is dirt. So, and fur. And I went walking straight back to Kyle. I think you didn't even
I didn't even know you shot. I was like, yeah. I just saw him run up. I was like, I didn't even know he shot. I gave him a haircut.
Yeah, I'm all mad. I'm like, damn it, waste time like whacking the arrow on my knee pads to get the dirt out of the broadhead. I'm like, gotta clean my freaking broadhead. And he's like, you shot. And I'm like, yeah, bro. Like, yeah, sent the arrow. So good, man. Yeah. I mean, it happens so fast, though, is that it just, whatever. And it was a miss, good clean miss. I mean,
I'd rather do that than wounded deer. Yeah, and it's
yeah,
good that you missed high like that. Lower.
yeah. I mean, any lower might have just dropped him in his tracks and needed a follow up. But yeah, then after that, that's when we were like, well, let's continue on our little adventure of roadside, running, and that's when he ran into those does, and yeah, then I think we were like 30 minutes left of daylight.
Yeah, but
yeah, that doe comes out right in front of the car. So the whole time is like hunters, just get out and like you're going, and so it's like
we're those guys right now.
Yeah.
We're driving in the truck up into deer.
So I'm like, I'm gonna take a different approach, and this might be a little rough for some listeners, so here's your trigger warning, but I doubt it. But like, first thing I do is like crack the door open. I'm like, hey dear, like you're cute, like I was like, I'm gonna try like the what do they call them, like the social distress people with police or whatever, social workers, I'm pulling the sop talking about here. I'm like, maybe this will work. So I'm like, hey sweetie, like you look cute, and like slowly get out of the truck. I'm like, good dear, like hey dear, and I go to open up the back door. And I'm like jiggling the door handle. I'm like, Kyle, open the door.
I still didn't drive.
It's still in drive. Finally, it gets the door open, and like instantly grab my bow, grab my quiver, or grab the arrow off the quiver, whatever it was, and I like slipped back out from behind that door. I'm like, good deer, like still just sweet talking it. She's starting to walk away, and Kyle's like, go out the back side of the truck. I'm glad he said something, because if I went to the front, who knows what would have added?
You didn't have a shot.
But go around the back, and there she is in a Ranger 38.5, 39. So sight was like, I knew it was danger close, so I already had the sight flipped all the way to the top, 20, 30, 40. So yeah, I just Ranger, and then she takes a few more steps, and I draw back, and we're like, I was like trying to like miss the ladder. I don't love doing the Maz, but Kyle finally, I hear him like roll down the window. He's like, man,
I did too. So like, he's not shooting. It took you for lot good. I'm like, I'm stopping there.
He finally yells at her, the good old bleat, the mouth bleat, and she stops, and I'm like, well, she's definitely closer than 40, but right around 40, and held low on her too, and let her rip, and yeah, it was high lung, and caught this ride. Dropped right there. No tracking at all. And just for good graces and good measures, I think all bow owners should do it. Give them a chance for a second, a follow-up shot. I was recommended it, so I'll wait. I grabbed the mega meat right after that and sent it in. She, when she dropped, she spun around and gave me, a good shot from the underside. So just put her right in the lungs, and yeah, she expired real quick. I mean, it's done really fast. And yeah, Kyle's like, you might want to put another one in her. At this point, I'd already shot my mega meat, my second arrow. He says this, and I'm like, but it want me to put a third one in? I'm like, you think? Like, so usually again, I was
like, give her a minute here.
Yeah. He's like, no, don't do this bird. I'm about to make her hamburger up in here. So like, God, I feel bad. But yeah, it was only a few seconds after that. She was done quick, but it was just crazy, 40 yards from the truck. And then, it's like Kyle pulls off the road, and it's like, all right, let's get this done. And
it was all the meat for you. You were wanting to fill a tag. So yeah, I'm glad they got a doe too.
Yeah, I mean,
That's some meat. That's good. Yeah.
yeah, I'm back straps. It's like $100 dough.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think I texted last time. Like, I had a $375 steak. That's amazing. Yeah, zero fat on that thing to make some extra flavor. Yum. Like, I told Katie it was our like first anniversary. We went to like Manny's Steakhouse. I'm like, yeah, wow, this is an expensive ass steak and it doesn't even taste close to Wagyu. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Like, but there's pride behind it, like he and I were texting. It's like that's the organic grass fed meat right there. Yeah, baby. There's no corn in that. No, not at all. So
No preservatives.
yeah, no preservatives, no added
They didn't spray paint the meat right.
So yeah, it's just like, we get up to that dough to start working her, and I like looking at my Mystery Ranch bag, like, yeah, just another time out west. Never been used still.
Yeah.
Still haven't needed a use for it.
No pack of that deer out.
No, notched the tag, and yeah, we literally just drug her to the truck. 40 yards. That was probably like 30.
I felt so dumb. But you gotta eat some benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seems so ridiculous to me. I say it's like, redneck hunting, but Jesus, I mean, base almost 10 straight days for me, and, 2 different states and 2 different out of state flags. I'm like, something. Yeah, at least something, it fills does not fill the freezer. It first added a little bit.
Yeah. The first mule deer buck I shot in North Dakota, we were down in the bottom of his drainage, and I shot it, and it ran up the drainage and then died right on the 2-track.
Oh,
right
really?
on the 2-track.
That's money.
And but for pictures, we actually drug it like 100 yards over to this hillside so we can get.
Do you say?
Yeah. And we drug it back to those little domes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always nice when that happens. No reason to be ashamed of that. I think that's awesome. You gotta work out, you do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
The old tactic of.
You ain't gonna probably kill a trophy buck or something that way. I mean, people have, but wasn't our goal at the time. It was the last full day, and we're like, probably let's just get some meat at least. Try to kill a doe or something. Eggs.
Yeah, I heard that the Hansen buck was killed kind of in a very, like, not a very skillful way, right?
Yeah.
Like, guy was driving in the truck, got out, freaking shot it, on the side of the road, and dead.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's not as rewarding, obviously, but it was more for the meat part of it.
Right,
Exactly. It's just like one of those things, still have to make the 40-yard or 37-yard shot, you still have to make a shot to get it done. But yeah, part of me is like,
Yeah, bragging about
it. No, I made a 40-yard shot. You won't believe it. From the side of the road. I tried to sweet talk this doe into staying. Yeah,
That's the best part. Hey, honey.
I thought you were gonna do pervert the pervert.
Honestly, you can just go there and sell it. We should get you some arrows in you. Oh, that goes.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Like,
got the wallet strapped to my thigh.
it's like all those stalks you do, though. It's like, really? Like, for a roadside, but, whatever. And yeah, that night, though, it's like, got back, and, I'm thinking, well, maybe we can do whole deer, because I thought Minnesota retracted their, CWD stuff, and then I started looking at, like, regs for, because the way we got in there is 2 different states, so I'm looking up every state's regulations, and I'm like, yeah, Kyle, I gotta quarter this thing out for sure before we leave.
Yeah.
And I kind of assumed like one state or the other was gonna say something about spinal cord and head. So I'm like, dang, I was hoping to at least finish the last morning with Kyle to help spot. And then yeah, it's funny because as we pull up to the spot that last day, like you said, it's a different spot and right on the side of that rancher, and just like I'm quartering this deer, and I actually had signal, and he's sitting up, glassing, and he just goes, yeah, I see a nice one. I'm going to go after it. So I'm just thinking like, whatever, it's, whatever deer, but, maybe it's a doe is even what I was thinking. Then, eventually go after that whole stock. And I mean, didn't you get barely close, or was
Yeah, maybe like 150 to 200 yards, which is decently close. I mean, when there's that many deer around, I mean, he was with like 12 does, you know? So,
yeah, feeding with all of them, and then that's when that doe was like right next to you, and
yeah, she busted me. I was sitting there just laying down, glassing from this little knob thing, but I was down low enough, and she was in a sage bush next to me, like probably within 20, 30 yards. I had no clue. She must have saw me move because the wind was blowing away from her.
yeah.
But she must have saw me move my binoculars or something. Of course, she busts out and runs straight at the other deer. I'm like, oh, cool.
Perfect last morning, great, yeah, awesome. Sounds, yeah. And then he eventually meets up back with me at the truck, and like, yeah, I can tell it's like, oh, he didn't get something, that sucks. And then it's like he looked a little warm, like he could just walk to a little ways, and
I
then
did walk away.
as like I basically just kind of slowly wrapping up. I was almost to the point of like, I think I was just about to put the quarters in the back.
Yeah, you're basically done coming in that deer.
Yeah, I was just gonna sit on my phone and catch up. But I actually had signal there, and it's like he gets back and he's like, "Yeah, this is the deer." I'm like, "That was the deer." I'm like, "Damn!" Like it was a nice one. Yeah, like for the sucks is the last day, last morning. But I was like, again, I was just expecting like a doe or anything at the point. And you showed me the video of this deer feeding. I'm like, dude, like wow, freaking like now I'm feeling crap. So here I am, taking up our days with freaking a doe. But yeah, and then
It was a good experience, though. It was fun just hunting. It's not always about killing something.
right, yeah, and I think I was telling you that it's like even when I went out with you, Nate, you and I guess only you and I had tags, but either way is like I just want to see someone get something. I don't care that it's me. I just it's cool to see some sort of success. And again, just like the last time I was out where we were, there was nothing there, and I haven't drawn a tag since. So it's like been a while since seeing fur closely, and so kind of getting that itch again. It's been a year since I've shot anything, and it's like nice to see someone succeed. Well, how do you measure success? Yeah, a classic humble outdoorsman now. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, it'd be nice to see someone fill a tag. I didn't care who it was. It's like, yeah, it's fun doing all that stuff, learning, all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's a blast, man. I'm glad you got to bring some meat home and lots of memories made. So that's pretty awesome. I got a ton of FOMO now. I'm like, man, I'll hunt with you guys. It sounds like
I know, just dude.
Dude,
I've been out there enough years now where, like, you said you, like, know Custer and you don't want to really draw a tag when you're not in there, but, like, I found enough areas just being out there without that I know a lot of spots, so we, like, pulled up on deer pretty much anywhere, but, yeah, I mean, the herd's pretty good right now. I feel like outside we got lighter winters, so.
yeah, well, that was the thing. Like when I was out there last couple years ago, I think they were getting out of the harsh winters, and they had EHD,
And so y'all summer droughts, yeah.
and so there's like harsh winters, summer droughts. Like swear out there, it's always a drought anyway. But this year they actually had enough rain this year. You're right, dude. This is the first time I think I've ever seen green fields.
So you dream feel like November. November's like doesn't happen out there very often, right?
No. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of deer out there now, but it was a good time. It was the first time I've ever really did run and gun in a truck. Like it was just like, what the hell am I doing?
That was the last day. We didn't do it the whole time.
No, yeah, no. It was just I don't know. I usually, especially I feel like where we go, I don't know. There's maybe some spots where you can get back there and it's more accessible via the 2-track stuff. But I'd say 9 times out of 10 where we are, it's a lot more walking. And it's just like,
you're talking about in North Dakota, or
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there used to be a lot more of that. We used to do that quite a bit, but a lot of the 2 tracks that we used to drive are now restricted.
Yep. can't drive on them. It's conservation officer only, or state, workers or whatever in that bike. And then don't get Nate started on e-bikes. But and then there's the roads that you can are all washed out.
Yeah.
They don't maintain them, which I'm actually okay with that. Yeah, I don't mind that vehicles can't get back up in there. Although, it's a double-edged sword. One of the nice things is that the deer kind of get used to the traffic kind of coming through there, So now that's not happening. It seems like they're maybe a little bit more skittish when there's something unusual going on. But in any case, yeah. So there's not a lot of that anymore. It's changed so much. There's one area that we used to access. It was super easy to get to, and now some guy came in, bought it out, and if it was always private, but there was an easement that you could drive on to get through there. Well, now he's completely blocked it off. I mean, it's like he's got it locked up like Fort Knox, who got big mansion up there, and he's got like a giant like hunting shed like sitting right on the edge of the property overlooking the valley, so we could just slide a window open it, whack one with his gun, to be done. So it's just kind of like, oh man. So you can't really access that easy anymore. And but either way, I think that's awesome. It's a blast. I'm gonna start trying to get out with South Dakota again. I think it'd be fun. I'm cordially inviting myself to with you guys.
We should all go. Yeah,
it'd be a blast. Let's see. But yeah, so that brings us to the end of this episode. You can find the video version of this episode on the Vapor Trail YouTube channel. So make sure you head on over there, give us a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you can be up to date on all things archery. Of course, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook, The Range Podcast. Look up Vapor Trail and Stokerized on all social media channels as well. And with that, we're going to pack up our bows and arrows. We'll literally go to the range this time, and we're going to hit the range. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate you, brother.
Yep. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.
Vapor Trail is now offering an exclusive discount to the Range Podcast listeners. Enter promo code TRP15, that's TRP15, at checkout for 15% off VTX bowstrings and Vapor Trail and Stokerized branded t-shirts, hats, and other gear.